guess starting off, when you were a child, like where were you living? Like which city, which state? Like, what
I
was
was
that?
born in Alaska,
In Alaska. Okay, what was the city in Alaska?
Seward, Alaska.
Stewart, Alaska?
Yeah.
Okay. How long did you live there?
Just a couple of years.
Okay.
And then we ended up in Oklahoma City. I was there till I was seven, I guess seven. And then we moved down to Brownsville.
Okay. Do you remember Alaska at all? Or
No,
not?
nothing at all.
Nothing at all? Have you ever gone back
No.
as an adult? Okay. Is that something that you would
It'd
have
be,
liked?
it'd be something I'd like to do, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the name of the town one more time?
Seward.
Seward, Alaska. Okay. Do you know which area of Alaska that's in? Like, Alaska's pretty big.
It's kind of the southern part. It's not, I don't think it's on the coast, but it's in the southern part, not in Juneau, how it kind of comes down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Juneau is on a kind of like a,
Yeah.
okay, but it's not in that area, it's over, it's kind of central south, I guess.
Yeah. Do you still have family there?
No, my father was working on a highway up there. They're supposed to go from Alaska through California all the way down to Mexico City. They're going to call it the Pan American Highway.
Yeah, yeah. Similar to like what we have here, the
Yeah,
NAFTA
Yeah.
roads and whatnot. Okay. No, interesting. Okay. And so you were like pretty young then, like 4 or so when you moved to Oklahoma?
I was probably just 2 or 3, not
2 or
even
3.
3, probably just 2.
And do you remember Oklahoma?
A little bit of Oklahoma, yeah. In fact, I looked up, I remember the address where we lived, and I looked it up on Google. And the house is still there, and you can see where I went to kindergarten and first grade.
Yeah.
The school's still up there, Fillmore.
What was the name of the kindergarten and the elementary?
Fillmore,
Fillmore? Oh, was it a combined Fillmore kinder and elementary?
yeah.
Okay. And what street did you live on when you were there?
1024 Southwest 51st Street.
You remember it exactly.
So I don't know how I can remember, but I remember that.
Awesome. Okay. Any fond memories of childhood there? Like a favorite thing that you would do, or a tree you would climb, or a friend you'd hang out with?
I remember we would, it was a new residential area. There's still several lots that were undeveloped. And there was tall grass, and those lots, and we used to hide in the tall grass and throw rocks at cars.
Oh, yeah. You know the where me and Aunt Mary, or our house and Aunt Mary's house is, there's like that orange orchard right there. When we were kids, we used to pick the oranges and throw oranges at the cars. So I think I tagged Norma one time on accident, and I never told her, but if she sees this, she'll give me a dirty look. But yeah, that's funny. The things kids do. Did you ever get caught?
One man stopped his car, and we took off running towards the empty field. He didn't chase us.
Yeah. No one ever talked to you about it, or like parents like talking about like
No.
these crazy kids throwing
No.
rocks at cars? Okay. That's funny. That's awesome. Yeah, do you remember like childhood friends, or you know, like,
If you're in Oklahoma, I don't remember any friends at all.
No.
I mean, I had friends, but I don't remember.
do you remember what prompted the move from Oklahoma to Brownsville?
Where my father was working, he was working in a tropical plant nursery,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a kind of a sister's nursery in Mexico that they used to come back and forth from. And they would ship plants up there and stuff. So they moved down to Brownsville to make it closer,
Make it easier.
easier.
Yeah. Do you think that's where like your affinity of plants kind of started? Just
It's
to
more
always
with
be
Rosie. If
around?
it hadn't been for Rosie, I probably wouldn't have done it. But because I helped my father, and he had his own nursery for a while. I used to work with him. I never really got into it. But Rosie was the one that liked the plants, so she kind of got me
Got you to continue doing it.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then you were in Brownsville pretty young, like you said, 7 or 8,
Second grade, yeah.
second grade.
7 years old.
7 years old. So what middle school then did you go to?
Middle school was Central.
Central?
We started off where we lived. We lived downtown first, on east of Elizabeth Street, and then moved over towards close to Russell Elementary. So second grade was in Russell Elementary, and then third, fourth, fifth, and sixth I was at El Jardín. We moved out by the airport.
Yeah. And then was it Hannah then that you went to for high school?
High school was Brownsville High.
Brownsville High. Is that still around? Like, did it get renamed?
It's still around.
Is it still around just with a new name now, or?
Well, we moved into Hannah was still Brownsville High. We moved in my junior year. We moved into it.
Okay.
During the Easter break, we moved into Hannah High School, but it was still called Brownsville High School then.
Okay.
They didn't make it Hannah until they split up and created Porter. And after Porter, they created Hannah
Wait, so was Porter the second high school in Brownsville?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that actually.
Pace was the third.
And in high school, like, did you kind of know that you were going to go into teaching or into like math?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea. I somehow, I don't remember how I got into it, but I ended up taking the SAT. And I did okay on it, and I got something from A&M, and I saw what the prices were, how much it cost. I said, well, I can't afford that, so I won't be going to college.
Yeah.
But then I got a little scholarship to go to TSC, so I did go to TSC for 2 years. But then after that, I figured, well, that's it, no more college for me. I'll find something else to do. But then I went with a friend to Austin. He'd already accepted it to UT, and so I went up there with him. And I got a job up there while he was in school, and then he said, hey, this is no harder than TSC. You ought to go ahead and enroll. And it wasn't that expensive if you did it off campus. I enrolled at UT then in the spring.
And you also have a degree there then, from UT?
What's that?
You also have a degree from UT?
Yes.
Okay. And in math?
In math.
Okay, nice. And then teaching pretty much immediately after?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay. Looking back, like, how have you liked that? Pretty fulfilling, you know,
I was,
like guiding?
yes, I don't think I'd do it again, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the way things are now. But I was, out of the 31 years I taught, I could say 28 were pretty good years.
Yeah. Was it the last two that were rougher, or
Oh, the first couple.
the first two? Okay. Why? What made those rougher? Or just the learning curve?
Part of that, part of I put in situations where I had a lot of repeating freshmen and stuff like that, and they weren't interested in school at all. They just wanted to hang around until they're 17 so they could get out.
Yeah.
So I was had a who's who list of the troublemakers. So,
Was it at Brownsville High then that you met Rosie, or was that later?
at Porter.
At Porter? Wait, so you weren't always at Brownsville High? You also went to Porter, or was it at teaching at Porter?
Just teaching at Porter.
Oh, okay.
And when I came back down here, it was already Hannah and Porter.
Okay.
I think Pace has already opened up too.
So just a few years later, like to get through college, and then came
Yeah.
down, and now there's like multiple high schools in Brownsville. Okay. And did you want to stay in Brownsville, or were you also considering other options?
I didn't. I moved down to Brownsville again because of we had an ice storm in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, this is not for me. So I'm going to go further south. And I applied for a couple of places, and Brownsville offered me the job, so I took it.
Okay. So you liked the warmer climate?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Okay. Have you gotten to like travel around and see other places that have similar climates, or maybe more climates that were more appealing to you, or like places that you visited that had lasting impressions, you know, and just got you thinking like, yeah, I'd like
No,
to.
really. I mean, we've been different places, but except for this past summer, the climate here, you really can't complain too much about it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty nice. Temperature's going up a little bit, but
Yeah.
but it's
So
manageable.
hopefully, this past summer is kind of odd summer. Hopefully.
Apparently the El Nino La Nina phenomenon, it was like twice as big as it normally is, and
Yeah.
they're thinking that that's part of the reason why we had such high temperatures for such an extended period of time. But we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean all that stuff's worth keeping track of. Okay, so let's see. You met Rosie at teaching at Porter. Was that like right away, or was that a few years into the teaching?
It was the first year.
First year. Okay.
We had a conference together and got to know each other.
How was early dating life with Aunt Rosie?
It was, well, at my
She
first
won't
year,
see this.
at my first year at Porter, I was a coach, and so I didn't get out of school till sometimes 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we'd have a quick dinner together or something, so it wasn't a whole lot of time there where I could do, you know, any real. We got together plenty of times, but it wasn't your typical dating scene, I guess, because of my schedule.
She liked you enough to wait and work with your schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure that was such a wonderful feeling to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was it about her that kind of struck you that made you want to continue pursuing it?
Well, we had a conference together, and in the teachers' lounge, most of the teachers would be playing cards or talking, stuff like this. But since I was coaching, I said I got to get all my work done here in school because I don't have a whole lot of time after school. And then Rose is pretty much the same way. So she said, well, that impressed me right away that she was also there to work, not to socialize. And so.
Did she have something after school as well, or she just wanted
She just wanted to get it done. Yeah, she wanted
so
to get
she
out
could
of the way.
have her afternoons?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, actually, it's interesting because I see my mom and my sister. Well, my mom's retired now, but I see them taking work with them and having to do a lot after hours. And
Yes.
I would like to see them just, or I guess my sister now, just be free. When like work during work hours and then after hours just be done.
I don't know how teachers do it that didn't take anything home.
I mean, they've almost been trained to at this point. Like it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And I have my own thoughts on teaching and whatnot. I think that a lot more money should be or should have been pumped into like education systems, public education. Like I feel like as far as compared to the rest of the world, like the U.S., it feels like we're falling behind a little bit, and like we started importing more of our scholars,
Yeah.
I guess. But yeah, no, like if I could wave a magic wand and change it, I would put a lot more funding into public education. I think that after a generation would have immense. So growing up, I imagine you had both your parents around?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What do you think were some of the more important values that they instilled you with that maybe helped you recognize, like, oh, like when you met Rosie, like just seeing that, like that is important. That's like a valuable thing to have. Like that's something that I'm attracted to. Like, do you think there were some lessons that?
Well, my mother was a very devout Christian,
Mhm.
and then I saw that in Rosie also. And my father, he instilled in me the work, just I guess the good work habits. Where, I mean, like to my father, you couldn't talk and work at the same time, because if you're talking, that means you weren't paying attention to your work.
Mhm.
And so he instills in me that the importance of doing a good job and earning the money that being paid. And that helped a whole lot. That helped me in a lot of the jobs I had. That helped an awful lot.
Mhm. Any lessons that you've picked up along the way that you think would be important to pass along, or that you have passed along and maybe would want to share?
Well, like with Andy again, the same thing. That you take your job seriously and you do the best you can. You don't complain about the pay. You don't complain about if you don't like it, you get another job.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to do that job, then do the best of your ability. And I think both he and Jennifer are doing exactly that. They're doing the.
Good. Yeah, they seem to be doing well.
Yeah.
And how many does he have now? 3?
2.
Or just 2 still?
2, yeah. They're going to stop at 2.
Okay.
I think.
Who knows what the future has? 2 seems good though. 2 seems like a good number. Okay, so we've touched on some childhood, some young adulthood. You met Rosie. Anything in particular that you've done in life that you're particularly proud of, or like something that you kind of consider like an achievement, that it's like I did this or I built this?
Probably one of my proudest moments as a teacher was at an in-service meeting where we had a speaker from outside of town, and he asked everybody to stand up and introduce themselves and to tell what they taught and how long they've been teaching and stuff like this. And so they started. I was on one of the last ones to come up to stand up, and I just introduced myself and said, very little. I was teaching one class. I said I was just teaching calculus, and that was it. But then after that, a young lady stood up and said, Mr. Waldron wasn't being completely open. I had him for physics, and I had him for calculus. And then another person stood up. Another former student stood up and said, I had him for geometry. Another one stood up. I had him for something. And about 8 out of the 25 people or so stood up. They're former students of mine.
You made an impact.
Said, wow, that was. And the in-service was for some of the top teachers, because we're calculus, pre-calculus, and some algebra 2 teachers. So it was usually the top teachers in the district, and that made me feel really proud there when they.
That's good. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't think I knew that story. But yeah, I can see that. I mean, having taken a couple of your classes, like
I think these are pre-calculus, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can tell that you care about the craft. Like you care about the students. You have an impact. You had an impact. You have an impact. So, anything else of note?
That was one of the main things. I got a couple what's called Golden Apple Awards at Porter. It's when one of the top 5 students, one of the top 5 seniors, nominates or names a teacher that had a big impact on it. I got a couple times.
Yeah. Do you remember what year that was when that happened? You made the presentation and then the students kind of stood up to.
I didn't have to make a presentation. I just.
Oh, you were just
I just
spoke about
received.
yourself.
The student made the presentation.
Right. Do you remember what year that might have been?
One was one of the last years, so it'd be 2004, 2005. The other happened a couple years before that.
Do you happen to remember the students' names?
One was Robert Zamora, and the other was Luis Matus. And there's one of the every year Port would have an honors, not a banquet necessarily, but an honors ceremony where they would mention the top 5 students and the top 5%, top 10%, anybody that got scholarships, stuff like this. And I used to give out awards for the ones that were competing in UIL. And so one of these ceremonies, I was there to give out an award for UIL, and I stayed till the end. And at the end, a former student walked up to me and he said, "If I'd been in the top five senior, I would have named you as my teacher with the biggest impact." And it was a student. I don't know, you may have known Simon Puente.
Simon Puente. That does sound familiar.
But he was in my computer science class, and in that class were all the top juniors. I mean, just and he came in, long hair. He looked out of place.
Yeah.
And he struggled at the beginning, but then I gave him a project to do that dealt with computer art, and he came up with a beautiful picture. I mean, it's just unbelievable, and that kind of turned things around for him. He started doing much better after that.
You found something that he could hold on to and.
And then he ended up teaching the computer literacy in the middle school.
Nice. So outside of education, whether this is growing up or maybe as an adult, because I know actually I think you were the first person that kind of got me introduced to cameras. But was there any favorite hobbies or activities, something that you really loved doing or maybe wanted to learn more about?
Actually, in college I took an astronomy course where we had to develop film in a darkroom. And after we got married, I thought about trying to turn the bathroom into a dark room because we didn't have a window or anything, so it's completely dark. But it just never materialized. That's something I would like to get into more of.
But you know the process. You took the class, you know how to.
I did. Now I can't do it now, of course. But
yeah.
And now we don't do that anyway, so it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, just finding the film is hard to find because I don't think they make it anymore. I think it's a finite amount of whatever's out there, and as it dwindles, it's going to get more and more expensive. Who knows? Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll be a re-emerging art, or maybe that's something like a new business model, like a traditional film or whatever, and they can have a new, what are they called? The sheets that you develop?
The negatives?
The negatives, yeah, like a new style of negative with a similar process. Okay, and was there a reason that film or astronomy attracted you, or maybe an influential person that had an impact?
I took the astronomy course because it was required for
the degree?
My certification. And the astronomy course got me turned on to photography.
Okay. Do you think you have any gems that you just haven't worked on or touched on? I know you said you had several memory cards.
We need to go through and pick out some of the pictures to print. We just haven't gotten around to doing it. It's like Rosie with her phone; she's got thousands of pictures on it, but we haven't.
So going through and finding it is the hard part.
We're going to go through and pick out the ones we want to print. People don't do that anymore, though. Much.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. And it's actually something that I'm trying to do. I'll do these little projects, but then the editing and the film editing with the photographs and using Lightroom and whatnot, splicing together the videos, switching from it's work. It's work. It's so making time for it. It's hard, but it's doable. It can be manageable. So, how old were you when? I guess let me rephrase that. How can I put this? After getting married, and then conversation about kids coming up, was it always just going to be one, or was the intent to maybe have more, or?
Well, we never talked about it. Just she got pregnant, and,
Happy surprise.
and Andy was born. And as far as she went to the gynecologist a couple years after Andy was born, and he told her that her uterus had become detached. And that if she got pregnant again, it could be a very difficult pregnancy. They could reattach it, but the chance was about 50% that if she got pregnant, that it would stay attached. So we kind of decided, okay, we'll stop with this one.
Would you have liked more if circumstances had been different?
I don't know. I can see where Andy and Jennifer divide their time between the two boys because they get involved in other things. I mean, Austin's playing football right now, and Cole's going to join karate when he turns 5. And there's this kind of running back and forth, fortunately Jennifer has a job where she can kind of manipulate her schedule a little bit. But I can see with how they're just, and it's going to be for another 10 years or so when they're just running back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And another, if we had another one, not only with the space in the house, but also we're just barely, we're living month to month on our checks that we got back then because we got paid nothing almost.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would have been very difficult to have another, not difficult, it would have been a strain to have another child. So,
were there any like traditions that you guys had with Andy then when he was young, or any stories or like anything that you'd want a future generation to know about and continue if you could pass that along?
no, with Andy it was all sports.
All sports.
All sports.
Do you think, was that all him, or did you kind of
It was him
nudge him?
from the very beginning. And we got pictures of him 2 or 3 years old wearing a helmet and a cowboy jersey and stuff like this. It was all him. In fact, one time on Christmas, we got something, I think it was a little bowling set or something, and we forgot to pull it out, and he was upset. I didn't get any balls. I didn't get any balls. So we forgot one of the gifts. It was all him. I'd let him know what was coming up, Little League, soccer, whatever. I said, do you want to join this? Do you want to join this? And so he kept very active. And Austin's turned out to be the same way now. He's in all sports.
Yeah. I need to, once I go through the aunts and uncles, I'm going to start working with the cousins as well, and kind of make my way through the whole list and see about having something available for everyone. But I definitely need to catch up with Andy. I haven't seen him or Jennifer. I don't know that I know I've met Austin. I don't know that I've met his second yet. So definitely something I need to do.
Well, they go to Austin every now and then because Jennifer's sister lives in Austin.
Mm-hmm. He has my number.
So I don't know how much time they have there.
No, I know. He's got his own thing. I live pretty far out in the sticks, so.
And I think they live on the west side.
Yeah, that's usually how that goes. When people find out where I live, they're like, "Oh, well, maybe not." Like, that's fine. I get it. It's what I could afford at the time when I bought. Let's see. When you reflect on like life, just looking back, are there any moments or decisions that you think really helped shape the person you became?
Well, the big thing was before marrying Rosie, I started going to church with her. And I grew up in the church, so I knew, but after I got out of high school, I didn't go to church anymore. But that's probably the biggest thing there is where I got back into church.
How do you think it helped?
Oh, because you got a
community,
a spiritual power to fall back on.
Mm.
It's like with this cancer I have right now, I'm not worried at all about it.
Yeah.
I think it's God's in control, not me. So, not the doctor, but God's in control. So, He'll take care of what needs to be taken care of.
Yeah, plus nobody, like one thing that for better or worse, one of the things that I spend a lot of time thinking of is that, like, it is one of the things that makes life precious is that we don't live forever.
Yeah.
You're here for a certain amount of time, and it's up to us to also, make use of that time, which is, one of the reasons why I want to do this documentation. I mean, it's not because of where you are now. I've been wanting to do this project for a long time. It's just that after Blanca, after Uncle Kike and then Uncle Wicho, it was like, okay, like you need to get started. This is important to you, and it's becoming even more important. So I had a little bit more urgency behind it. But like I said before, it's a project that I want to do with the entire family, if I can or when I can. So, but yeah, but having lived, what from the outside, I mean, coming over here, seeing you and Rosie and Andy, having seen like you and Rosie and Andy, like it was one of the good examples that like I had growing up, because I had you, Uncle Wicho, Uncle Kike, like as kind of the primary male role models in life, but I think you were one of the ones that I saw most often, so, and I don't know that I'd ever said that out loud to you,
no.
But yeah, no, it was important and, good for me to see and good for me to have in my life and experience. So I also wanted to thank you for that. But, are there things that you want to be remembered or a way that you want to be remembered? Or is there a message or like advice that you would have liked to have left to anyone in particular, or maybe just kind of as a blanket like piece of advice or something to leave behind to the family?
Well, the main thing is, like you say, that we're here on Earth only a short amount of time. then what happens afterwards? And we firmly believe in the heaven and the hell. So, the main thing there is that you're prepared to get to heaven, not to hell.
Mm. Lead a good life.
Well, it's more than that. It's you get to heaven through faith. It's a belief that Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior, and that's he says it's the only way to see the Father in heaven is through Him. People say, well, no, I lived a good life. I've been good. You think of the 10 Commandments. I followed the 10 Commandments and stuff like this. But even Jesus Himself said that's not enough. You got to have that belief. And then you got to live a life that honors the Lord God above. That's why I wish your mother and your sister would start going to church again. But they're firm believers. There's no doubt about that. But there's more to it than just that, I think. So.
Yeah. So this is a bit of a tangent or a side topic, but and maybe this is just people needing to come full circle, or come to it on their own. I don't know how it works out, but it's actually something I've been thinking about a lot of too. Like, I see the state of the world. I see people. I see how people are acting. How people date, and it's not what I grew up with. It's not like what I was used to, And recently, I just told my mom about this as well, but I met a woman who does have her faith, is very, wanting me to come, with her, on Sundays and whatnot, and it feels nice. It feels good, It's like, this feels like home. Yeah, is there anything, any advice for me personally, or for maybe any of the nieces or nephews that you would maybe want to share that's more specific or more general instead of more general? If not, it's fine. It's just I want to try and create opportunities if there's something that has been lingering, in the back of your mind, that you think is worth saying.
I was just don't put yourself first. Put other people first.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Yeah, anything that you wanted to touch on? Maybe not family specific or.
Can't think of anything. No.
What do you think of what we did cover so far?
It'll be interesting to see how you put it all together.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really done it before, so I have what I got from my mom, and because you never really know how it's going to go. I created a list of questions, and I have a general direction, but it kind of can take on a life of its own, and I want to allow that. I want to be able to. Okay, you want to talk about this specifically?
Yeah.
Let's go down that direction. Let's see. Anything in life that you would have changed or added to yourself if you could have? Is there?
You think back to things, but really, there's nothing. It's like you asked when we got together at your mom's house. Said.
This last time I was down.
Yeah. Yes, a similar question, and my answer was be more willing to ask for advice. But would I go back and change things? No. I mean, you can't look back. You're going to look forward.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I wish I was able to record that session as well, because that was a really nice night. But I didn't want to pause the conversation because we were all sitting together. We were all talking. I didn't want to stop it just to go get the cameras. I was like, nope, this is just how this night's going to go. But yeah, that was a really nice night that I'm glad we all got to share. Yeah, and I remember thinking back to the Christmases and the Thanksgivings when everyone got together. I missed that stuff.
Yes.
It was really nice.
It goes back to Blanca was kind of the
glue.
The glue.
Yeah. Has Carlos or Eddie reached out?
Carlos was here. He's in San Antonio now.
He's in San Antonio. Okay.
And then they were down a couple of weeks ago, and he came by and said hello.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I reached out to him the last time I was down, and I hope you don't mind, but I kind of let him know what was going on, and he had no idea. No, I let him know, you should, your family, you should know, you should go visit. So I'm glad he was able to make time for it. Yeah. How about, is Andy still in Mobile?
Yes.
He's still in Mobile? Okay. Do you think you passed on everything that you could to Andy?
Those are things I think about now that maybe should have passed on early on with him. Even Rosie said the other day that mowing the yard and stuff like this, I enjoy mowing the yard, so I would do it. He said you should have gotten Andy to do more of that stuff, and she's probably right there. He helped me in several areas. He helped me, but he didn't do as much as I probably should have had him do. Because again, I enjoyed doing it. So
you mean like installation of more of a work ethic? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now he hires everything that's done around the house. He hires somebody to do it. And part of that's because of the time involved, but there are some things he could probably do on his own. They have a yard man. I think they even they used to have a lady that comes in to clean the house once a week.
Yeah, I agree though that mowing the grass can be kind of seen as one of those simple pleasures. Nice day out, you're out enjoying the weather, smell of fresh cut grass, the little things.
Yeah.
And what about your grandkids? Anything that you would want to pass along to them?
Well, we try to, when we have them over here, again, we read them Bible stories and stuff like that. I don't know how much they're getting over there in Mobile, but we're trying to keep hoping get a little more biblical teaching than I think they're getting.
Well, I'd say you've had an impact. Do you still have your parrots?
No, they all passed away.
Yeah, passed away.
For 30-some years.
Yeah, it was a long pet run.
Yep.
I remember being afraid to feed it.
Oh yeah, one the yellowhead would bite sometimes. Yeah.
So about that. How did that come about? Like getting a parrot? I don't know.
Well,
many
we started
people.
off. Rose was in the hospital
Mhm.
with surgery, and so I went. Andy and I went and got a little finch. I don't know if we got one or two. We may have gotten two. So we'll give her, because they chirp and everything. It's kind of a pleasant noise, and so we got the finches, and then they actually had laid some eggs and had some babies. And we started to go getting more and more. We bought a couple other finches and built the aviary in the patio there, and that became kind of a hobby for us. We had the birds. We would sell the extra finches to pet shops around the valley, and then we ended up getting first. I guess we got the yellowhead first. Then we got a cockatiel. And then we had two cockatoos, Diane and Charles and Diane. We had them for a long time.
Yeah. Charles and Diane.
But when the price of the finches went way down, because we started selling for $5 each,
Mhm.
and then went down to $3.50, then went down to $2.50, and I said, well, there's no money in it anymore. So we slowly got rid of the birds.
What do you think happened there? Do you think the market just got like flooded, or do you think the interest in?
I think it's got flooded
Yeah.
because they're so easy to raise.
Yeah.
In fact, the pet shops are saying that we don't sell the birds. We give the birds away with a cage. So they buy from us for $2.50, and then they sell a cage for $30 and give them give them a couple finches to go along with it.
And where did you find the white ones, the white parrots? Because I know you had those for a while, but you kept them separate.
They were there's a lady out on Clubhouse Road
Mm-hmm.
that her name was what's her name? Cabler. Her son was a big shot in the city for a long time, and she had them. So we got a real good deal on them. We got it very inexpensively. They're very, very expensive birds.
I mean, they were beautiful.
Yeah, they were.
So did you always have like pets, or had you had birds before, or was that kind of
Not
how
birds.
they
We've had
started?
dogs, not birds.
Okay, so the birds started with Rosie.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so it started with a gift for her, and then it turned into kind of a small business venture for a while.
Yeah.
How long was it profitable, or was it like decent, like selling to
For
the?
3 or 4 years, probably profitable, and after that.
That's a good run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Any historical events that you've lived through that stick out, or that you remember, or that you feel were not significant? I guess they would all be significant, but anything that stands out? I know I'm jumping around, but like I know we've had hurricanes here. We've had the island incident with the bridge. There's like different things. Does anything seem more memorable than others to you?
Just Hurricane Dolly, I guess.
Dolly,
Beulah, I think. Hurricane Beulah.
Buda.
Hit in '67. It really disrupted. We were out of school for a week, flooding everywhere.
Yeah, I guess because for COVID, you guys were both already retired, so it didn't
Yeah.
really have an impact. Oh, I have a good one. What is a small, like, everyday thing that you would do for yourself just to take like a moment of joy, like morning sip of coffee, or?
When I get up in the morning, I have a devotional period where I read we have a book called The Upper Room, and it's testimonies of different people.
Mm-hmm.
So I read through that, pray, and read the Bible. That's always a good way to start the day.
Do you have a scheduled time for that, or is it just force
When
of
I
habit?
wake, as soon as I get up.
As soon as you get up. Do you, like, in bed, like where you are, or do you like go to a different room?
I go to
dedicate?
the TV room over there.
Okay. About how much time do you think you spend on that?
About 30 minutes.
About 30 minutes. If someone wanted to like start the practice but wasn't used to it, do you have any recommendations on like setting the routine?
Or where you get something, because you can buy books that have a devotional for 365 days.
Mm-hmm.
So you get something like that, and just just start reading that, and then very often they'll give you something. At the end, they'll say something. Pray for the soldiers. Pray for the teachers. Pray for. And so that'd be the way to start, though.
So rewinding a little bit, I know I had asked earlier, and I should have explored this a little bit more, but you said that you didn't know that you were going to be a teacher. Were there any other aspirations when you were younger about like becoming something or doing something? Like, and how might have those been different than what?
When I was in high school, when I realized how much it was going to cost to go to college,
Yeah.
I decided to go join the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
But I failed the physical.
You failed the physical.
'Cause, I ran into another guy up there in San Antonio. He was going to go through the same thing I was going to go through. And we stayed out late at night, and my blood pressure was just a little high the next day.
Mm.
And so they gave me a paper to bring back to Brownsville and say, get your doctor to get 3 good readings for your blood pressure and send that back up, and then we'll come back up and sign you in. But at the same time is when I learned about the possible scholarship through TSC, so I said, well, let me put off the Navy for a while. And then when I decided later on, after when I went to UT, I went 1 semester, and that was in engineering, and I worked a summer job where I kind of got turned off to engineering because the engineer, all he did was sit in his office all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, this is not for me.
You wanted to work with your hands.
So I didn't go back to school the next fall, and I got a couple jobs here and there. I decided, well, I'll join the Navy now. I'll join the Navy. But now I'm smarter, and I said, I want to get into a certain area. I don't want to get into something that's not going to help me. I want to get into a certain area. And so I said, this is the area I want to get into. I have to show me some of the options. So this is the area I want to get into. And they said, yeah, if you pass this test, yeah. So I took a test, passed it. I said, oh, yeah, you're right there, right on there. You qualify and everything. So go to San Antonio, take the physical, and while you're up there, go to the recruiter up there and take another test. And if you pass that test, then yeah, we can tell you get into that field. So I go up to San Antonio, take the physical, go to the recruiter up there, and he gives me the test. I passed it. I said, now does that guarantee I get into this area? He says, no, we can't guarantee anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, forget it.
Yeah. I know that dance. I did that dance.
Yeah.
Which area were you looking at?
It was it'd be like related to plumbing,
Okay.
pipe fitting.
Pipe fitting.
Since I had some college already, they wanted to put me in something else, and even the submarines. No submarines.
No submarines. Why no submarines?
I probably get claustrophobic.
That's okay. Yeah, it's a very tight quarters, and you're underwater. That's a lot to. That's a mental gymnastic.
It is. It'll take a very strong person.
Yeah. Did you and Rosie have a honeymoon?
Yes.
Where did you go?
Well, the actual honeymoon was on South Padre Island.
Mm-hmm.
But immediately after that, I had a summer job in Wisconsin at a summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were on the island for a couple of days, and we took off to Wisconsin.
Okay.
So we had a summer-long honeymoon, you might say.
Nice. Wisconsin. What things would you do in Wisconsin when you had off time or time to yourselves to kind of be a couple?
Going to town. There's a little town there, Rhinelander. We were going to town. But she also got a job at a nearby summer camp teaching typing. She ran into she helped the director's wife with some of the errands she had to run, and so they ran into the owner of another camp in the area. They said, we got typewriters, but we don't have anybody to teach typing. And I said,
I can do it.
I can help out. So 3 days a week she over there. So.
Was there ever anything that you wanted to go to, like just the two of you, or anywhere that you would have liked to have seen together that maybe that you did do, or that you wish that the circumstances allowed it?
We were very northern Wisconsin, and there wasn't really much there. There was in the southern part there had some areas there, but it would have been too far to drive. Well, for an afternoon or something. But that would have been interesting if we could have gone into Madison or something like that, which is more farther to the south.
Madison, Wisconsin. I've always heard it, but I don't know anything about it.
It's kind of like an Austin.
Yeah? Okay. There's a lot of little cities like that in the U.S. that I want to explore and visit. Like, the U.S. is so big. Like, I've spent a lot of time in other countries, but there's a lot in the U.S. that I would still like to see, too. So I might, now that I can do, like, remote work, I might want to go to each of those cities, each of those little nooks, and, like, just spend some time there and really get a newfound love for the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. Any recommendations on cities to see or sights to see?
Well, we went to Grand Canyon a couple times.
Yeah?
It was beautiful.
How was that? I have not seen that yet.
That's something else. We went there one time. The first time we went, it was with Andy, and I went on a tour in a van, and that was kind of sit back and relax. The second time we went on our own, and that was nice. And then we went to Mount Rushmore. That's impressive.
Yeah? That's in North Dakota, right?
That's in South Dakota.
South Dakota, okay. I knew it was one of the Dakotas. Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, I don't really have anything too specific. If there's somewhere that you want to talk about
No, I
or
can't think of anything. No.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. I mean I think that was awesome. I really appreciate you letting me take the time to do
I
it.
hope you get everything together and find time to put something together
I'll put something together.
to share with others. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely will.